Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Slappin Kpop podcast. I am Kayla, and today I am here with Sammi.
Hello.
And today, we're starting off the end of Asian Drama November, so we don't have any more Asian dramas to talk about for the rest of the year.
Nope.
So I'm sure a lot of you don't care about that content at all, so good for you.
Those are some of our lowest watched episodes.
We're not going to do it anymore for the rest of the year. But today, we are here to talk about the book Shine by Jessica Jung, formerly of Girls' Generation, which I have not read, but Sammi has read and has told me a lot about.
I bit the bullet and read Jessica's book, and okay, to start this off, this will be a spoiler-filled review and not a positive review. So if you're all in on this book,
you need to leave now if you don't want the spoilers.
Leave now, please.
Yeah. We will essentially be spoiling the entire plot of the book. So if you want to hear the plot of the book, I guess stay.
I have various pages of notes if you just want to know what's in this book. Stay and stick around if you don't want to put yourself through reading it. But if you want to read it, go now. A brief non-spoiler is that I think it is your very typical YA contemporary book. I think that it is very generic. I think it is, but if you're into that, if you're into the Gossip Girl books, or if you're into the Pretty Little Liars books, or if you're into YA contemporary, read it. If you're a K-pop fan, I'm 50-50 on whether or not you'd like it, because it's so unrealistic, it's almost laughable, and it's so, which in a way is also almost just nothing in this book would. It's based in somewhat reality, and then random things will happen that I'm like, that's not how this industry
this is not how it works anymore. And I think part of it is the fact that Jessica has not been a K-pop idol for years now. So the way the industry works now is not what Jessica was used to when she was a belle.
Like, also, Jessica is very second gen and one of the earliest K-pop idols. Like, Girls' Generation is, 12 years old at this point? Like, she's not fourth gen. She's not even third gen. She's full on second gen K-pop idol. Mm-hmm. She is so far out of the loop of these new idols and what they do and what they have to go through. This feels like it's almost from it could have taken place in 2010.
Yeah. Probably when the book should take place. It just makes it make more sense that way a little bit. True.
So that's our spoiler-free review of Shine by Jessica Jung. So, should we give a little background on Jessica? Because I do think that the background is needed to understand a lot of this
important
book.
Oh, yeah.
Because this book... So, Jessica was a member of Girls' Generation. And Girls' Generation, as we know, is one of the biggest K-pop girl groups of all time. Arguably, some would say the biggest and the most influential, popular, and they were under SM Entertainment. SM Entertainment's first. Not first. They're probably biggest girl group, I would say.
Yeah, probably.
And in general, she left. Well, quote unquote,
she left, got kicked out. It was...
Left, got kicked out. We'll never know what actually happened because it's SM Entertainment, and she's probably signed 18 NDAs that she'll never be able to speak about what actually happened. Mm-hmm. And also, K-pop fans, if she actually wrote a tell-all, it'd all be half the people would praise her, half the people would call her a liar, no matter what she said about anybody. Mm-hmm. So it's very... And also... The thing I find very interesting, and this goes into a little bit more of the rumor aspect, is that Jessica is the only member of Girls' Generation that's actually been written out of Girls' Generation. Because Girls' Generation, most of them aren't under SM anymore.
They're down to 5 or 6 members now, yeah.
I think they're 5, because that's what's in OGG,
What is
right?
in OGG, yeah.
The only people left are in OGG, and, everyone else is gone out of SM, but still... referenced by SM as Girls' Generation and still talk about as if they are in Girls' Generation. The only one not in Girls' Generation is Jessica. That's the only person they've sort of written out. So who knows what happened? Who knows what is the true story? But that's sort of a background that I think people need to have going in. Because that makes this book make a lot more sense, especially with the events that occur.
Yep. Like, obviously, this is a fictional book, so it cannot be explicit about events or people that are happening.
And nor do I think that these are full-on references to people. I think that these are possibly amalgamations of people. This is probably based on things that happened to her, but either exaggerated or changed in some way. Like, we're not putting out there that this is the biography of Jessica, but in a different name.
You can definitely speculate about it, though, just given the amount of history she has with SM Entertainment and
also,
Girls' Generation, though.
In a way, it's very blatant. Like, she also doesn't try to distance herself from those accusations because she was in SM Entertainment, and the fictional company in this book is called DB Entertainment.
Like, it's just SM. Like, that is the company.
Like, that is
SM.
That is what it is. I mean, the other thing with that is, like, if she wanted to, she could distance herself, but she doesn't. The other very fun thing for me is that half of these characters have names of K-pop idols. Like, recognizable K-pop idols. Like, the main girl is Rachel, and I like April, so, like,
so
Rachel
there is
is
indeed
just
a Rachel.
April.
Yep. I don't think Jessica knows that there's a K-pop idol named Rachel now.
She probably doesn't. There's one of the main, I wouldn't even say she's an antagonist, but the main, like, bitchy girl is named Mina.
Which, that's just a common name, but there are also, like, several K-pop idols named Mina.
And there's one big idol named Mina. Like, from one of the... So it's just very fun that a lot of this is just reference, like, it's very funny to me. So... Overall, I think that this book is written, it is very much your average young adult contemporary. Nothing about it is terribly worse or better than any of the other ones. It's kind of what I would describe as trashy young adult fiction, and if you're into that, that's on you. Personally, I think it just made me realize how I like trashy young adult fantasy, but not trashy young adult contemporary, because this was not for me. I did not enjoy myself. Mind you, I was reading this, and then I read maybe 100 pages. It's not that long of a book. It's only 300 and something pages. It's like 350 pages. And I read maybe 120 pages the first day I got it, because I was just, like, reading through. Like, it's an easy read. You can just breeze through it. And then I was talking to, like, Kayla and I think Dan or Lucas and some other people about it. And then I just didn't pick it up again for a month. Because I had no interest in it whatsoever anymore. I was just like, I would look at it and be like, I should probably read that. We want to do an episode on it. Da-da-da-da-da. It's K-pop related. We should probably use it. And then I just didn't. At all. And then one day I decided, I'm powering through, and I powered through the rest of it. So I technically read this in 2 days. A month apart
just
from
a
each other,
month
but
break
2
in
days.
between, yeah.
Yeah, but technically it was 2 days, which is why this episode is so late, and everyone has already given their opinions, and we've all moved on from this book. But we're bringing it back.
Because we are the most timely podcast.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We had to do K-drama. We had to do Asian drama in November.
To do Asian drama
Our
in
most
November.
popular episodes. Alright, so this book is about a Korean-American girl named Rachel. Her and her family essentially come over from New York to Korea for her to be a K-pop idol. She's going to train under DB Entertainment, and this is her sort of like... I think she's like 17. Yeah, she'd be around 17 because they're talking about how she's also going to try to, like, possibly be doing college applications and all that other stuff. So she's around 17 and, like, she wants to debut. And I'm just like, okay, that's a fine premise for a book. That's fine. But it is very much just it's a very generic premise. Oh, also, I wrote a few quotes here.
Oh, yes.
Can I just read the quote from chapter 1, page 1? So mind you, this is the first page. You know what they... Wait, that. You know how they say 3 can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead? Well, that can't be truer in my world, where everyone is always watching and your secrets can actually kill you. Or at least they can kill your chance to shine.
It's like the most dramatic thing ever.
And in that world...
It's like, are you in the mafia or something? Like, are you not, like, what?
And at that point, I knew what book I was in for. Like, no, that is the quote that starts this book. Thus, I knew what was happening. I mean, the other thing I find very funny is that Rachel, the beginning of this book is Rachel sort of like they're testing them on different things, and Rachel's apparently a great dancer, great singer, but has stage fright. How'd you make it this far into being a trainee while still having stage fright? Because she's apparently been a trainee for years.
Yeah, I don't understand how that's the one thing that you can get by as an idol trainee with stage fright. Like, I feel like you get weeded out, like, early for that. Yeah.
And it's also not even just stage fright. She also has, like, no interview skills.
Like, no personality.
Like, the personality is the problem, and I'm just... Like, all those things seem like very big things they focus on in idol training, and a lot of idols can get away with being subpar vocals and subpar dancers, but having great personalities.
There are fully K-pop idols that exist who are in there for personality alone. Like,
exactly. And they do very well, and those are some of the best K-pop idols because a lot of it is based on personality. You have... That's why you have a group of idols. A group can have one member that's there for more for personality than for talent. Mm-hmm. Because personality, in a way, is a talent, being able to market yourself like that. So, you get introduced to that. You get introduced to a bunch of other trainees. Names as Mina, Eunji, Lizzie. Those totally not K-pop idol names.
Not K-pop idol names.
Jessica would know some of these people.
Like, Jessica definitely knows Lizzie. Like,
Lizzie exists. Eunji, like,
she definitely knows Eunji as well.
Like, Mina, I will even give her that she does not know that there's a Mina, but, like, a lot of these are very famous K-pop idols. So Mina is the main, like, if you've ever read or watched literally any coming-of-age movie, she is the stereotypical rich bitch. She hates Rachel. She thinks she's better than Rachel. She's rich. Her family invests in DB Entertainment. So she's like... Jesus. I think that she's like, oh, I should be getting special treatment, but Rachel's getting the special treatment, which she is. We'll get to. Because Rachel
kind of seems like a horrible person, to be perfectly honest. She is. Like, I would hate Rachel if I was a trainee of this company.
I mean, Rachel is a horrible person, because Rachel is apparently, like... Most trainees live in dorm rooms. Every other trainee lives in a dorm room. Rachel gets special permission to not, because she lives at home with her family. Rachel also, she only trains on weekends. So she's only, like, a part-time trainee. So my thing is, like, if you're not, in a way, knowing the K-pop idol industry, a lot of this seems like, I get that she wants to be an idol, but she is getting preferential treatment.
Like, yeah, those are just... she's still the favorite, and she's only there, like, not even half the time. Like, of course everyone else is gonna hate you, because I would hate her. Like,
yeah, like, if you're all putting in 100% and she's putting in 100% of her weekend time, that's different.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Also, I just proceeded to write down the names of K-pop, the fake K-pop groups in this book. 3 of them include Next Boys, which is very funny to me. It's boys with a Z, so, like, the boys. Electric Flower.
I hate that one. Is so weird to be Electric Flower.
Electric Flower. And the other one is Big Money, spelled as one word, but the O is a $sign. Which, I don't know. I don't know if these would be we've had bad K-pop names recently.
We're in a really bad stretch of bad K-pop names right now in particular.
I think Next Boys is bad. Electric Flower I could see happening. Mm-hmm. Big Money reminds me of, like, 5 other groups.
Big Money.
It also kind of reminds me of, like, Big Flow and a bunch of other groups that just have big in the name.
Big
that
Star.
I don't think that Big Star, BIG, just big. I don't know what exactly that is supposed to.
It looks so funny. Just looking at it with
when I wrote them down.
With
yes.
the
That's
dollar sign where the O is.
Yep. Also, this book has weird references in it. Because it's both, I think, references that Jessica made when she was... It's weirdly timed. Like, she'll make references that seem more so, like, from when she was younger. Like, when she was 17 and when she understood. It's very, like... I think there is a reference to, like, Gossip Girl in it. And things like that. But then there'd be a random reference to, like, they go to a cafe at one point and, like, Joe Jonas is there. Or, like, they say there's a picture of Joe Jonas and his wife, Sophie Turner.
Sure.
On the wall. So, like, it's obviously set in a contemporary setting. But some of the references just seem too far back for a teenager to be making.
Yeah.
And those, I think, possibly can't... And it's just odd.
Like,
it doesn't take you completely out of the story, but it's just odd.
If you're 17 years old in 2020, like, you don't give a shit about who Joe Jonas is. Like,
but, like,
the people who care and know him are, like, our age. Like, that's the age of people who care and know about Joe Jonas. Like,
yeah.
It's weird.
So the other thing about Rachel has a sister. She has a little sister named Leah. Which, again, does not make the comparison to Jessica less...
Actually having a younger sister.
But, like, she has a younger sister named Leah. She has a mom who is not supportive of her being a K-pop idol because, of course, she's not. And she has a dad who runs a boxing gym. Now, there's a weird subplot with her father that I will now get into. The subplot with her father is that he owns a boxing gym that is failing... and thus has decided that he is going to go to law school. He has been at law school apparently for years at this point, and has not told his wife or any of his children. Tells Rachel at the beginning first couple of chapters of this book that he has decided that he's about to graduate from law school. How do you keep that a secret from your family?
I also don't know why that's a thing you need to keep a secret going to law school. Like, that seems like... not a bad thing to be doing if you're owning a failing boxing gym. Like, that doesn't make really any sense at all.
Yep. I wrote down more funny quotes I keep getting. Like, DB Entertainment's apparently constantly full of rumors. Like rumors about different K-pop idols. And a quote that I saw at one, which is that a rumor was going around that someone had a boyfriend. Or that someone got kicked out because she was on illicit drugs. Mm-hmm. And the literal quote I wrote down, which is, in this industry, illicit drugs are more believable than an illicit boyfriend.
I don't think that's true at all.
That's not true.
It's just not true.
It's also kind of known that K-pop idols date each other. It's just not public.
I know, because you hear all these interviews about idols where they ask, like, the older second-gen idols, like, oh, how do you ask people for their numbers? And there was that whole thing about you put it in the Inkigayo sandwich or the whatever sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, it really doesn't, like, I get it that it would be, like...
And just the amount of dating scandals in comparison to the amount of people doing illegal drugs, like...
And, like, also the fact that, like, we just... I don't want to say this because we just got off of Burning Sun, which essentially exposed a lot of scandals, but also a lot of drug scandals, and, like, a bunch of K-pop idols have just gone... and had drug scandals.
Yeah.
And it ended them. And, really, like, drug scandals have been, like, one or two, but it's a massively more serious scandal.
The drug scandals are career-ending. Having a boyfriend is not, because, like, that's never ended anyone's career, having a boyfriend. Or even getting married. I mean,
it's made...
That even hasn't ended people's careers.
Way more... It's made them less popular. It's obvious... No, except for that one member, Super Junior. He still isn't allowed to come back.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him because...
Except for that one member of Super Junior, that's the only career I've seen ended by a dating scandal.
Yeah.
By marriage. And, like, everyone else is sort of fine. Especially now, where we've sort of reached a point where, like, King Daniel and Jiho, from Twice and the main visual center of 101, two of the biggest groups in K-pop, they dated for a while, and, like, it happened...
It just
people
happened
looked at it, were like,
cared.
cool. And then no one cared for the rest of their relationship, and I think they recently just broke up.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that was all just chill. Like, a lot of this is just, like, people are chill about it now. I think the last big dating scandal we had was, what? Hyuna and Edon?
Yeah, and they're, like, just living their lives, like, perfectly happy. Yeah. And just, like, their relationship is incredibly public, and they're just completely fine.
Like, yeah, I just feel like this whole dating being a serious issue is just something a lot older. And that makes sense because of how long Jessica's been out of the industry, but it's just
comparing it to drugs, too, is also, like, drugs have never been, like, a less serious offense than having a boyfriend. No. Like, that's just never happened.
It's been a career-ending. It's been career-ending. Somehow, like, getting caught with weed, idols end up with, like, way more trouble than if they get caught in a DUI.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like, it's bad. Like, those are, like, the two bigger... those are the two big scandals. Not the illicit boyfriend. Also, I don't love the phrase illicit boyfriend.
I know, that's a weird phrase.
Illicit the phrase boyfriend. Illicit boyfriend is odd. Another thing that's very funny to me, which is the fact that, like, viral K-pop video gets 36 million views in 24 hours.
Oh, we are way beyond that point now.
We are beyond that.
Way beyond that.
This came out, and then BTS got, like, Dynamite got 101 million views.
Yeah.
In 24 hours.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, that's just something that a lot of K-pop idols can do now. Like, they can get around, like, 20 to 30 million views.
I know.
Very quickly.
Yep.
Like, this also... which is also why I wrote that a lot of this writing feels like, hello, fellow kids. Very much trying to connect, but just being slightly off.
Also, a thing I want to bring up, so because of a lot of the problem is the writing and how disconnected it feels from just current K-pop.
Reality?
Yeah. So, she probably used a ghostwriter for this, is what I would assume.
Probably. I would assume yes, because most young adult fiction, especially young adult fiction written by celebrities, is done using a ghostwriter. Mm-hmm.
And so I want to know how much of this is the fault of Jessica and how much is the fault of the ghostwriter.
I think a lot of this might just be... I mean, I do think Jessica came up with the premise. I would like to put the fault on this ghostwriter who probably did not have the time and was not paid enough because ghostwriters are paid
I feel like the ghostwriter probably has zero idea of what's going on in K-pop and just doesn't know at all.
There's a little bit of Googling probably, but like I don't think they really cared about the intricacies and like the very specifics that as a K-pop fan, I mean, we've both been K-pop fans for years at this point, and hardcore into it for years, and we've seen the industry change. A lot of this seems like references that Jessica knows off her head, and then no one decided to update them to what K-pop is now.
Oh yeah.
So there's the obligatory Korean things checklist at some point. They eat fried chicken. They have heated floors. There's some kimchi. They watch a Netflix K-drama called Oh My Dreams, which I looked up is not real because of course it can't be copyright. It's very similar but also,
I would like to think it's about like similar to Oh My Ghost.
I would like to think it's like, I don't know. This K-drama is very funny because it's kind of the only reason I kind of know either how much time is passing or this is a very long K-drama. Because throughout this whole book, they make references to, like, her sister watches it religiously. So, which makes me think that all of this takes place this whole book takes place in the amount of time it takes for a K-drama to air. Which is really, like, 3 months at max. 16 weeks. This whole show takes place over 16 weeks.
Oh, Jesus.
Also, this show seems like a trip. There's amnesia. Of course there is, but like not last second amnesia. There's like earlier amnesia because it gets brought up in the beginning. There's a lot happening in this K-drama. They make references to, and it sounds like the most generic thing imaginable. Oh, so at this point is where we kind of meet our love interest. Apparently, this super amazing dancer, also super clumsy on her feet, falls on her ass in front of her love interest named Jason Lee. He is Canadian and half white.
So Mark Lee.
So
Canadian.
So a half white Mark Lee.
Yes.
Oh God. Yep.
It's just I hear Canadian and the last name is Lee. I was like, oh, that's just Mark. Here he is.
Such as Mark, also from SM Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, would Jessica have met Mark?
I don't
Probably
know.
not.
I mean, Mark was a trainee, I think, for a while, so they
True,
may have
but
had
how
a
much
passing.
did... Yeah, maybe in passing, but like I don't think anything.
I don't think Jessica like really knows Mark well or anything, because Mark is like a child in comparison to her.
He is a child. Yeah, he's very much a child, and I just wanna just say that it's just like all of these are accidental references that I find very funny. Just picturing in my head Rachel from April and Mark Lee.
Yes.
Very funny.
Also, there was a K-pop idol with stage name Jason.
There was a K-pop idol for the stage name Jason. Member of Ace, Byungkwan.
Byungkwan of Ace used to go by Jason.
Go by the stage name Jason. But for my brain is picturing Rachel from April and Mark Lee, which again is not that weird of an age difference. It's actually quite funny.
Is it? Yeah.
It kind of fits. Alright. Oh, my other favorite thing is that at this point, like, they start to make a connection. They talk. They're both like, oh, we're just like want to be themselves sort of thing. Also, my other thing is that I wrote down Shirley newly debuted boy group going to a club in Itaewon because Jason is a part of Next Boys, which I think is sort of their... The only thing I can compare it to is sort of like EXO, where it's like big... We actually never learn how many members there are in Next Boys. There's only two
Jason.
of them ever named. It's Jason and Minjun. The only two ever named from that group, and they actually never mention how many people. So it's a duo. And apparently this debuted boy group, which we're not really ever given an amount of time where they're debuting, but they seem newly debuted, boy group with the new it boy of Jason is going to a club in Itaewon.
Because that's a thing you let a newly debuted boy group do. That's definitely a thing you allow them to do.
Because I've heard of, like, debuted trainees. Like, trainees will go with their friends to clubs.
Yeah.
There was recently that thing with all, like, the 97 line.
Oh, yeah, they went to a club.
They went to a club together, but a whole group seems odd to me.
Right after they debuted is, like, not a thing that is going to be allowed to happen.
No, you don't have that kind of time.
No.
So they also essentially invite all of the trainees aside to go to a quote-unquote training night, which essentially is just a party. It's just a party, but it's also a party held right before they go to... It's like a party held right before their, like, monthly evaluations.
Because of
it's
course
like the day before.
Of course,
and like the CEO is doing the monthly evaluation this month. And my thing is, why would you do a party where you're all gonna get drunk the day before? That's stupid.
People are stupid.
And then we have the thing that happens in this book that confuses me the most. The rich girl, Mina, drugs Rachel at this party.
Why? Who knows?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
What is the purpose
I
here?
still am not entirely sure what the point of drugging her was. Why it would be worse than, like, because she also could have just gotten her drunk.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't understand.
She could have just gotten her drunk. It would have made sense for her to just, like, get her drunk. And then also she would have made a fool of herself at her evaluation. She woke up late.
Yep.
And that's what happened. Because she did a terrible evaluation. Like, that's sort of what happens. And, like, the other thing with this book is that it just sort of seems like, and it may just seem like I'm just saying events that are happening. That's what this book is. This book is just events happening in the sequential order. There's no real through line of, like, what exactly is happening. Because she makes a fool of herself.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's just odd.
Oh,
also, there's another quote I wrote down, which is, the more people are talking about you, the more you're worth talking about. And I'm like,
no.
Yeah. A lot of these seem like, No. But, like, she makes a fool of herself at this audition. It's a terrible audition. And then from there, it just, more events keep happening. Mind you, I'm cutting out a lot of this, a lot of the boring parts. Like, she also... in between all of these big events, she's also randomly having conversations with, like, her friends at school because she still goes to school. So she's got, like, these two friends that are twins. And, like, other trainees, and like she does have like one or two friends, but just in the company she's got like nobody likes her, except now Jason, apparently.
Sure,
So
because
her
of course
and Jason,
he does.
of course he does, it's insta love. Her and Jason meet at a secret cafe where all the celebrities hang out, because of course they do. Yep. Which I think is believable, because I've heard that does actually exist for K-pop idols, where there's cafes that are like super chill with just having a section where they can go into the back and like no one will bother them. Mm-hmm. That's whatever. This is really where we get another point that this is, for some reason, our girl Rachel decides that now is the time where she's going to sketch outfits on a napkin and say she's into fashion. And this never comes back in this whole book. She just does it in this one scene. And I think it's a little on the nose. Mm-hmm. Because, Kayla, would you like to tell the people what Jessica did after she left Girls' Generation?
Oh, and it's also speculated that this is the reason she got kicked out of Girls' Generation. Is because she started a fashion line. And apparently other members /SM were not okay with her doing the fashion line while still an idol. So she had to pick one, and she chose that instead of being in Girls' Generation.
Or I've also heard so many rumors.
There's a lot of rumors
about different things that happened. Like, who knows? So yeah, while they're at this cafe, to sort of redeem herself, everyone concocts this plan where her and Jason are gonna sing a duet. And they do, and it goes viral, apparently. And apparently, yes, it was leaked online and it goes viral, because I forgot to tell you that the monthly evaluation that she embarrassed herself at was to find someone who's going to perform a duet with Jason.
Mm-hmm. Because of course.
And my question is, again, no way is a newly debuted It Boy having a duet with a girl and it's just chill.
No. That's not happening in K-pop anymore.
No. Because apparently this goes viral and, like, it's fine. Like, it just goes viral and people are, like, super excited and they want him to do duets with women.
No one is... That's not how the K-pop fandom is working anymore. Like, that's just never how it worked to begin with, but...
It's never how that happened. We also have another quote I wrote down, which is, "Why should we give you a second chance?" And the answer to that was, because there's no limit to how brightly I can shine.
Because, of course, we got to throw in a reference to the title of the book here.
Yep. So after she goes to the party, I also wrote down the quote of her mother's reaction, which is, "When did my daughter become such a disgrace? How can you live with yourself like this? You're out of control."
You're out of control.
She went to one party. She went to one party. One party.
Out of control.
Out of control. So that happens. And her and her mom are on the outs for a while. It's fine. And then, so essentially they decide that because this all went viral, they can't just make Rachel and Jason do a duet. It's going to be Rachel, Jason, and Mina. Because, yes, we can just turn duets into... What is this song that can apparently be a duet that's now turned into a trio?
Yep.
That's a question I have.
Somehow.
So then we have the beginning of the sexism subplot. Because that is introduced about halfway through this book, where we meet Electric Flower and the member Gina, spelled with a J. And so she has a boyfriend, and Electric Flower has been together for 7 years at this point. So it's obviously the end of the contract. And Gina gets essentially very, like, she, quote unquote, decides to leave her group. Are we getting vibes from this?
Uh-huh.
And, like, she gets drunk at this cafe that they all go to, and, like, she just says... I wrote down a variety of quotes from her long speech, which is, "Never get a boyfriend, you can't be a K-pop star and fall in love, having a boyfriend isn't just difficult, it's dangerous, they will never shell out money for a female star that's anything less than perfect, single and perfect." And I think that makes sense as a newly debuted star. That almost makes sense to me. She's been here for 7 years. That's not true.
No. Also,
There's
I
members
mean, the
on
amount
the
of
nose.
just, like, this is just Jessica. Like, this is what happened to Jessica. Like,
This is just
this
Jessica.
is just what happened to Jessica.
Because the other fun thing is that it does make a weird implication that SM or DB Entertainment makes their idols secretly sign 10-year contracts.
Yeah.
Because they're essentially saying, oh yeah, oh you think you're, because they're like, oh you can sign a 10-year contract. The limit is 7. Right, because of things that SM has done in the past.
Literally,
SM
is the reason that they can't sign 10-year contracts.
But, like, they're like, oh yeah, no, you think that they don't, like, make you sign a 7-year contract and the extension when you first debut? And I'm like, what? How does that hold? Like, that is an implication to put in your fictional book.
Oh, yeah.
That is so blatantly
It's so blatantly just what SM does, apparently.
Yep. So randomly, in the middle of this book, Jason decides to fly Rachel and Leah to Tokyo. I am not entirely sure why. And so they go on this weird date with her little sister. They go go-karting. Her sister vomits on her. Also, I want to point something out. This girl prefers Howl's Moving Castle to Spirited Away. What? That's a wrong opinion. I'm putting that out there. Wrong opinion. And
also,
then I just wrote
so Jason is like a newly debuted idol, right?
I don't think the more I read this, because I got the impression he was newly debuted at the beginning of the book. The longer I read, I think he's been out for like a couple years at this point.
Because I'm like, there's no way newly debuted idol just has the power to fly people to Tokyo. Like,
I mean, he's also, we learn later, just filthy rich.
Okay.
From his family money.
Cool.
He's got like that Chunla money, whereas like his family's also just mega rich.
Just he already comes from money.
But like, yeah, no, I was having this question in my brain of like, how the hell does he have a private plane? No K-pop idol has a private plane.
No.
Period. I don't care how long you've been out.
They got fancy cars, but no one has a plane.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that we know of.
Yeah.
They don't really advertise the planes as much as the fancy cars.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get the blah, 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 being biracial, Korean American or Canadian is hard, and like, no, it's just that whole obligatory thing of like, oh, I'm American and I miss the American things, and like, oh, I'm biracial. Yeah. I miss, like, I'm not really Korean, I'm not really Canadian, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I've heard this done before, and this is just a really superficial look at it, because it happens in, like, 2 pages. It's not that long of a discussion, and nothing new or insightful is said.
They don't even go into it.
No, because then they proceed to talk about things that they miss, but this is also things that they never experience. Like, they're like, oh, road trips and drive-in movies and pep rallies and summer camp and prom.
Like, you've never gone to these things before.
None of you were, like, how do you, like, they're like, oh, I would like to do these things. I'm like, all of these things are subpar.
Oh, yeah.
Drive-in movies
Drive-in movies, like, specifically. Like, who is saying that they miss drive-in movies?
Where are we in this? Summer camp, they could have gone to summer camp. Like, they were kids, but, like, summer camp is not that exciting. Prom is terrible.
Prom overrated. Completely overrated.
Mm-hmm. So, like, they get together in this. They're essentially like, oh, I can be myself when I'm around you. And I'm like, so, like, every young adult contemporary, whatever. And then they use the word courting. And I hate that word when talking about a relationship. They use the word courting, and I hate it.
That's gross.
It's a terrible word. Never use the word courting. Just say you're dating or in a relationship.
So much.
The word courting is terrible. So essentially they go back to Korea from this weird detour we had, and they're backstage and they're about to debut the song, and like they're gonna go out there and they're gonna sing it, and it's sort of like their, like, it's like the family concert. It's like like SM family concert, or like is it SM or is it SM Town?
I think
is that what SM's is called?
Sure.
Yeah, so they're debuting it, and the song is called Summer Heart. I just had to, like, every time I read something, I just sort of paused and sighed and moved on.
It's just like, this is happening. This is what's happening in this book.
Oh, also, I literally said they get together, they kiss backstage, because that's apparently what you have time to do backstage at your SM family concert.
Yep.
Kiss.
Yep.
Totally
in front of
incognito,
probably a lot of people.
No, it was, And then I said they premiered Triple H 2.0.
Triple H?
I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote that, but none of this both feels like Triple H.
I think it's just the fact that there is, like, 3 of them, and it's a co-ed trio.
True.
True.
And I was just like, none of this seems like it'd be Triple H, but also, I also wrote, "Oh, my dreams" is going on for a long time, because they keep making references to it, and I'm like, this show is either 100 episodes long, or this is all taking place within, like, a month and a half, because this show is still going on. Next, we also get revealed that Next Boys debuted with a song called "Love Letters Start With You."
Uh-huh.
And that's another point where I had to pause and just had a really long sigh of, no.
Uh-huh.
Would that be a ballad? Like, what?
What does that mean? What song is that?
Starts with you. It's also not the word you, it's the letter U.
Letter U, because of course it is.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Also, Summer Heart, the music video is out, and they get 20 million views in an hour.
Okay.
And I'm like, not the most illogical one, but like,
But we were calling a music video super viral that got, like, 38 in a day, so, like, there's, like, consistency here.
Like, there's, like, weird consistency issues here, because 20 million in an hour? Also, then we begin the very fun thing of Jason doesn't want to sing the DB style of pop. He wants to make his own music. Because he sings her a song on his guitar, and she's like, "Oh, what song is this?" And he's like, "Oh, I made it." And I'm
he
like,
wants to be a
we're also
singer-songwriter.
opening this. We're opening this up. Like, at this point, we have so many subplots of the dating rumors. Jason doesn't want to be a K-pop, like, doesn't want to make the Next Boy style of music.
Her dad secretly went to law school.
Her dad secretly went to law school. She wants to debut in a K-pop idol group. Her mom hates her. Whatever the fuck is going on in Oh My Dreams, which I'm oddly more interested in. And, like, we're gonna add more, but, like, at this point, we just have so many subplots that I'm like... Also, there's the fact of, like, they just bonded over the fact that, like, she's doesn't fit in Korea and he's biracial. There's that subplot. I'm like, why are there so many subplots?
A lot going on.
They go on a disguised date to Latte World.
Yes.
And it's in this that we start the now what's gonna be the running theme through the rest of this book, which is the sexism plot. Which is that female idols get treated differently than male idols. Which they do.
They do.
I will say yes.
I mean, that's not false.
That is a true fact, and, like, what happens in this is very interesting, because it's like they're in line, they see 2 girls, they're watching the video, and they're like, "Oh, I love Jason, he's so great, but who's this whore?" Or, like, essentially that. Those aren't the exact words, but you get you get the gist of what was said. And, like... And then also, like, the Gina thing comes back because Gina got broken up with her boyfriend. And her boyfriend stays in the industry, but she gets cut. And, like, a bunch of these different things, and the whole sexism issue gets brought up. And it gets brought up to the double standard in K-pop, and Jason just says, "Oh, that's not," like, he doesn't see it. Essentially is blind.
Yes.
Essentially, yep. Jason is an idiot and blind.
He is just dumb.
He is just dumb.
It's a lot of this of, like, if the problem's, like, not happening to you, then it doesn't exist, is assume what's happening. But
also, like, has zero, like, ability, because, like, Gina says, like, after she got kicked out of her group, her boyfriend broke up with her, and, like, she's like, "Oh, he gets to continue his career and I don't." And, like, Jason's response to that is, "Oh, she seems genuinely upset, but we don't know the full context and the full story." Mm-hmm. And my thing with that is also, he's an idiot.
He's just stupid.
He's just stupid. So they break up. So they're broken up now. Because they've been together for, like, no time at all, but they're already broken up
maybe
again.
2 weeks.
So her dad graduated law school, guys. Yay.
Congrats to Rachel's dad for graduating law school.
Congrats to Rachel's dad. So they're gonna go to the New York and Toronto SM Town concerts, I guess, to premiere the song. I guess. It's fine. Sure. Also, I want to point out another subplot that's been going on in this whole book that I've yet to mention, which is that Leah has yet to find any friends in Korea that aren't bitches.
Oh.
Every single time she makes a group of friends, it is only because her sister's an idol, or now because her sister is, like, a popular idol. They're like, oh, you're not going to be here for my, like... In the beginning, they're like, oh, yeah, are you sure your sister's an idol? And then she has another group of friends over for another sleepover. And, like, she can't make it, so none of the girls show up.
Aw.
Because Rachel is in Toronto, Canada.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's
girl,
sad.
Are you not... She has, like, no friends. And I'm, like, genuinely like, what's happening? What is... Like, what...
It's all Rachel's
she's
fault.
like unable to make a single friend.
It's Rachel's fault.
Rachel's fault, apparently. So now we have the worst part of this book. The part that I think is the most unexpected, which is that... So they're in Toronto. Jason is from Canada. Great.
Yes.
They have to go from their hotel, and it's like, I think, a 3-hour car ride to where they need to perform. So they're leaving this hotel and going on a 3-hour car ride. The CEO is also there. So Jason decides of like, oh, I'm going to rent a car and drive us there. And the CEO, and he's like, oh, do you two want to come with me or go in the company car? And in what universe is a CEO just gonna let this happen? I don't care if he's the most popular K-pop idol in the fucking world.
No, this just doesn't happen. It's like, would not happen anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And then on their way, they get stuck. The car stops working.
Ah, yes. Because of course.
And they're stuck with no cell service.
Of course. So, in Canada, no cell service.
In Canada. In the backwoods of Canada, apparently.
Yes.
And then, so Jason leaves to go get help at, like, a gas station. So he just runs off.
Oh, boy.
And Rachel has a bonding sesh with the girl that drugged her.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Because apparently they just have a quick bonding sesh about how, like, women are treated worse in K-pop.
Yeah.
And my brain can no longer process what is happening.
This being allowed to drive his own car thing is like a thing you would see in a K-drama. Like, that you would see it there, but, like, realistically, this would not happen anywhere. No. It's very bad. Then, so he makes it back. They don't and then the weird thing happens where it's like, the CEO is like, okay, where are your outfits? And they're like, oh, Jason said you guys pick him up. And then the CEO is essentially like, no, I told Jason you can do this if you stay to pick up your stage outfits. Oh, Jesus.
So they just don't have stage outfits because Jason's an idiot.
Also, no one is leaving an idol in charge of picking up the stage outfits. Like,
they're idiots. So for some reason, Rachel has like she's got like a dress and heels in her bag. For some reason, so she gives that to Mina.
You mean you don't carry around a dress and heels in your bag at all times, Sammy?
Of course I do.
Just on an emergency outfit.
An emergency outfit that involves a dress and heels. She's fine, and he's like, they just wear whatever they're wearing, which is dumb. That there's no clothes, I guess.
Apparently.
Just none.
Just none.
And so, like, they perform the song, and then Mina's heel breaks, which is Rachel's heel, so she gets super pissed. So she falls on stage, and then gets super mad at Rachel, sorry. And then that friendship is immediately done.
That friendship's over
5 seconds after it started. Oh, I also need to point out she twists her ankle, so she can't go to New York. And also, there's the lovely subplot that her father is an investor in DB Entertainment, but also a complete asshole who will just call her and yell at her over the phone. Very,
yes.
like, emotionally abusive.
Oh boy.
He's like, you're, like, how did you do this to yourself? And I'm like, she fell.
She fell.
So that happens. They go to New York. They essentially prove that every idol reality show is extremely scripted. So all those reality shows where they're like, we're gonna go have fun in this place, all of it is scripted.
Yeah.
As if we didn't know that.
I didn't expect any of that to be real, but, you know.
Yep.
Good to let people know.
Point. They make it a point that that's all scripted.
Yeah.
Then the double standard finally goes too far for Jason. And he's like, because at this point, they're not really been allowed to, like, they're doing this whole New York thing where they're off in New York and, like, you know, going to see the sights and all that. And, like, she gets dizzy because she hasn't been allowed to eat all day.
Oh, yeah.
And he's, like, trying to stop the shoot so he can get her something to eat or drink or whatever. And he's like, can we stop it? She looks like she's going to pass out. And they just keep going. And they're like, I need to stop. And they're like, oh, Jason needs to stop. Immediately stop everything.
Oh,
and it's
boy.
like, that is too on the nose. That's where this book is a problem for me. Where just everything is just so on the nose with its commentary.
Yeah.
And then, so the double standards on the nose. They kind of get back together. And then it's sort of revealed that when they get back to Korea, everything's sort of revealed that Jason wants to go solo. And he was using this song and these girls to try to go solo. What?
So, number one, that's not how going solo works in K-pop at all.
He wants to leave Next
not how
Boys
it works.
and go solo. That's not how going solo works in
That's
K-pop.
not how it works.
You can just be a soloist.
You could just be a soloist.
Most SM idols have done solo work.
So most of them.
And they're still in
like,
the group.
this is, like, you can perfectly fine to just be in the group and also be a soloist. Like...
And it's just so dumb.
It's so dumb.
Where it's like, nothing is... Oh. So, and then it's the final reveal. So, like, they're mad at Jason now because Jason essentially used them. Which is stupid. It's a stupid twist.
Yep.
And then we have the
twist.
reveal that Rachel is going to debut in a 9-member girl group called Girls Forever.
Uh-huh. Yep. If that isn't a reference to anything that Jessica
nine-member
has done before
girl
in her
group,
life.
A 9-member girl group.
Girls Forever.
Called Girls Forever.
Uh-huh.
Woo-wee.
Wonder what that's a reference to.
Wonder what it's a reference to.
I wonder.
And then the final chapter is just sort of a look into Girls Forever. Mina's in the group, still hates her. Mina and all of the girls that have been mean to her up to this point are in that group. And essentially they continue to torment her. They continue, because Mina now has a clip of her kissing Jason. She has a clip of it and she basically uses it to blackmail her of like, you can't say anything. We have, like, dirt on each other. Like, let's just buy... Like, we are stuck together now. And it's like, why do you still want to be a K-pop idol? She's like... She seems to be having a miserable time.
Yeah.
But she's still, like, full in on this idol thing. And I'm like, what?
Sure. Oh, sure. Because,
also, there's one final subplot that I have forgotten to mention. So there is a... K-pop, there's a trainee at this, which just proves to me that Rachel's a terrible person.
Yeah.
It's a subplot that I didn't even mention with a character I haven't even mentioned called Akari. Akari is, I think, the only Japanese trainee in DB Entertainment. So she's there, and she's Rachel's, like, only friend in this whole company. She's her only friend. And throughout this story, like, she's very good friends with her. They talk and everything. At some point, she makes a note that, like, Akari and her haven't talked in a while. And she's told her nothing of what's going on with her relationship with Jason. And essentially, after she gets the duet with Jason, she never speaks to her again. And at the end, when she comes back to America, it is revealed that she has been transferred to a different company. And she didn't even know. And
because once she had the love interest,
her phone number changed, everything is gone.
She can't pay attention to her friends once she has a boyfriend.
Yep. Nothing is, like, it's all terrible. She's a terrible person.
I'm wondering if this Jason going solo thing, because Jessica also has to know that this is not how going solo works in K-pop at all. But if that's like
Members of her group went solo before she even left.
I know, but is that like a dig at SM because she wasn't allowed to do separate things while in the group? And she was forced to leave instead?
Maybe. I could see that kind of being how that worked. Or, like, I feel like a lot of this book is a dig at SM for various
I think a lot. This entire book existing is a dig at SM.
Look, I hope that this helps her cope.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that this just sort of helped her be, like, this was just sort of a cathartic, like, almost therapy session for her to write this all out.
Yeah.
But also, it is just very unrealistic.
It is incredibly unrealistic.
I mean,
it's so
overall,
weird. It's because a lot of it is very realistic. Like, I think the way, like, the sexism stuff is real, and like how idol trainees are treated, like that's I think all very real. But there's also so much of it that is like, this is not how the industry works, and it's like,
I mean, I think the sexism is good on principle and in the fact that it exists. I just think that it's badly executed because it's like,
it isn't very
so
poorly
on the
executed.
Nose.
Very
like, everything about this is like fine. Like, it's all okay in theory, but in execution, it's very not good.
No. Execution of a lot of it is not good.
Mm-mm. So, what did you think of story time with Sammy? What are your thoughts on this book from an outsider perspective?
I'm glad I didn't waste the time to read it, because I was very interested in knowing the plot of it, but I did not want to put in the time to read it, so that was very nice that I could just come to Sammy and be just like, hey, talk about this book.
What happens?
Yeah.
What is the BS that happens here?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think this book also sets itself up for its inevitable sequel.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna get a sequel.
My thing is, it makes a weird case for being a K-pop idol.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, what about what I described to you makes being a K-pop idol look like a fun thing to do?
None of it.
Like, why does she want to be a K-pop idol still, even after everything that's happened to her and her being humiliated?
Yeah. And it's a weird thing that I think this is, people just want the fame. And I've heard this in actual, like, interviews from certain, like, senior idols where, like, you can tell the idols who are here because they genuinely enjoy singing and dancing and performing, and the ones who are here simply because they think they can get, like, massive amounts of fame and popularity from it. Because being a K-pop idol really isn't that great of a career, like, job, like, paying wise. It's not like a lot of them are rich. Like, you have to go through so much before you're even at a place, like, where you're getting paid because of the whole trainee debt.
I mean, I think that she has the spirit. She wants to be a K-pop idol because she likes, like, I think she genuinely likes what she does, but none of this really made me understand why she wanted to do it.
Also, the thing is if you like singing and dancing, but you also have stage fright, that's a little odd. Contradictory.
Yeah. It's just, like, a lot, and then the stage fright isn't necessarily, like, she gets over it very quickly. Like, because she performs, like, 4 or 5 times that I've even said in this, and the stage fright is just whatever at that point. So I don't know what.
For how many years until the start of this book, and all of a sudden it's fine. Like,
and a lot of it is just also, like, apparently interviews, which, again, she does interviews in this, and it's fine.
Yep.
It's weird. It's all very weird. I think it's all, like, I think it was just too much, because I think that they're trying to tackle every issue a K-pop idol has in their debut period too quickly.
There's also just too many subplots. Like, completely useless subplots happening.
I mean, I think the reason also that, like, I guess the reason her dad has to become a lawyer is because they apparently want, like, rich girl's father hires the dad as his lawyer. And I'm like, so what was the point of that?
But, like, why couldn't he just be a lawyer as, like, a job? Why did he have to own a struggling boxing gym and then secretly go to law school? What's the purpose of that?
a lot of this is just very, like, I don't know what the purpose of a lot of it was. It just sort of, this book isn't necessarily, like, a good, like, through line. It's just sort of a different events that happen
of events
in a sequence. And they kind of all work together and they kind of don't. Like, there's, like, 4 or 5 things that I could have cut and just been like, we didn't need to go on a random date to Tokyo.
No.
We didn't. Like, a bunch of this needed to be cut. And also, random things happen that just, I think, could have been done better in more realistic ways. Like, why did she need to be drugged? Why?
I don't understand why that
no
needed to happen.
consequence happens after she is drugged. No one has any consequences whatsoever.
I feel like Jason gets, like, 0 character development the entire time. Like,
there isn't.
It's just a present, but, like, nothing is happening with him.
He's a nice guy. That's what I can describe Jason as. He's nice. But then also secretly using these girls for...
Also, like, a horrible person and stupid, like, incredibly stupid at the same time.
But, like, if you're gonna use them... Because the other subplot with Jason is that he has a dead mom, because of course he does.
Of course, we need someone to have dead parents.
Dad, mom, and distant father. And I'm like, of course, none of this is... Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, a lot of it is just, what is the point? And, like, what am I gonna... What should I be getting out of this? And it's just, like, I think it's building towards sequels where they, like, much like Gossip Girl and Pretty Little Liars, where you set up 8 different subplots and then you just, one by one, take them down over the next 13 books.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. This was just, like, a lie. If you're interested in reading it, I've already spoiled the whole thing, so don't.
Yeah. There's nothing else there that you need to know about.
There really isn't. But we did cast the Netflix movie that will inevitably be made about this book.
We did cast the Netflix movie. Also, it's going to be a comedy instead of a drama. This is now a comedy movie.
We made this a satire. This is now a satire of young adult fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we cast this only using K-pop idols and only using K-pop idols
who can speak English. Yes.
Because this will inevitably be in English.
We do have also our token, like, Western Asian actors as well, but we will get to them.
Because we did try to cast this originally with Asian actors, how it would be made in America, and then we realized there's no young Asian actors that we can
everyone's in their, like, 40s, so we can't.
Everyone is in their 40s or their, like, late 20s, early 30s, and we're like, well, we can't make them be 17-year-olds.
Nope.
So, let's start with our main cast.
Our main cast.
For Rachel, we also decided that as many of these idols as we could get from SM, we were going to get from SM Entertainment.
Yes,
so, Rachel, main girl. Oddly, we decided to cast the newest debuted SM
one
idol.
Yes.
That can speak English. We cast Giselle from aespa. Who speaks English.
She does.
Do I know if she can act? I don't know, but she works.
We know almost, like, nothing about the members of that group, so...
So this could be her breakout role.
It could be.
Next, as Nice Boy Jason, we have Jaehyun from NCT.
We sadly could not cast Mark Lee because Jason has to be able to sing, and Mark is not a singer.
Mark is a rapper?
We also can't cast Johnny because Johnny is also a rapper.
Also a rapper? So for the character of Minjun, the other member of Next Boys, we have cast Johnny.
Yes.
And then also for the rest of Next Boys, we have the rotating members of NCT.
So the way I picture this, every scene that Next Boys is in, just a different group of NCT members. In every single scene,
so,
just
like,
different members.
In the establishing shot, you just have a picture of, like, Jaehyun, Johnny, and it's, like, I don't know, Mark, Hendery, Yuta, and Jisung. And then the next scene on, like, if you see a picture of Next Boys, it's Jaehyun, Johnny.
There's Lucas.
Ten, Win-Win,
Do-young.
Poon, and Do-young. Like, it's just a different group
just
of...
different
I also
members.
want it to be different amount of members. So, like, you get, like, 7 members here, 5 members in that scene, 8 members in the other scene, just constantly rotating. The only consistent members have to be Jaehyun and Johnny.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
So for more, do you want to do my favorite casting choice?
Oh, yes.
Which is her little sister.
Our favorite little sister.
So for the little sister character, we tried to think of like super young maknaes that could speak English that debuted this year.
There are
so
none.
We're upping the age of Leah to like, I think he could pass for 14.
He looks, yeah. He
looks young. We've decided that we are changing him to be...
made it a brother.
A brother.
Yes.
And it is going to be played by Alexander Vincent Schmidtly, member of the Willem group Drippin'.
Yes.
Our new favorite boy.
Our new favorite. I love him. He's great.
His full real name is Alexander Vincent Schmidtly.
I find it so funny that there is a K-pop idol that's just their name.
That's just his name.
That's his name.
Half German.
He's
half German, which makes this make sense. But
that's
also
why
that is
his name is incredibly like German.
So he is now the little brother to Rachel. So then we have. Do we want to do Mina?
Sure.
So Mina, we decided to look for other like member of the big three that speaks English. And we thought, let's get Australia in there, and we went with Jennie from Blackpink.
Yep.
Because why not?
Why not?
Because Jisoo's the actress, but Jisoo doesn't speak fluent English.
Jisoo doesn't speak English. So we have Jennie. Mm-hmm.
And then, also, I just cast the other very fun, Electric Flower is just going to be a picture of Girls' Generation.
Yes.
And Big Money is just going to randomly be pictures of EXO.
It's EXO.
I just want random pictures of EXO. Just for fun.
Yes.
And so then we have, do we want to do the adults?
We should do the adults, because I enjoy the adults very much.
The adults is where we had the most fun. So for the CEO of DB Entertainment, we cast Henry Golding. Who is the main actor from Crazy Rich Asians. Because they do say that the CEO is, like, young and hot.
So Henry Golding. Perfect. Young, hot.
Perfect. Young, hot. For Rachel's dad, we cast Randall Park because
that just seems appropriate. Like he feels like
appropriate for a man
owning a failing boxing
gym
and secretly going to law school. Like that's just a thing he would do. Like Randall Park
and his wife, the disapproving K-pop wife, is Constance Wu. Also, it could be Lucy Liu if Constance Wu is busy.
Either one would be great.
Either one will do. We want one of them.
My favorite is the next one.
I think you have to go with this one. He's also
the reason why this is now a comedy movie.
Mind you, just remember that Mina's dad, the only thing he does in this story is just call her and yell at her.
Yes.
And then also offer Randall Park's character of Rachel's dad a job as his lawyer. That's the only thing he does. And it is going to be played by
Ken Jeong. Because every time you make a Western adaptation of anything Korean, Ken Jeong has to be there. It's a requirement.
Of course he does.
It is a requirement that he has to be there. So he is here.
Legally, that is the only way this movie gets funding.
Yes. So we have
And then
Ken
also, we have Ken Jeong. That's who needs to be in this movie. That was our most fun casting decision, was the adults.
Yes.
So, that was... What are our overall thoughts here? I am pretty sure this is going to be made into some kind of movie or television show.
It definitely will. It's fun to talk about purely from, like, a comical standpoint for me, honestly. Like, I can't take it seriously in any way at all. But I enjoy listening to how bad it is and just how ridiculous it is as well.
It was very ridiculous. I will give it that. It was very ridiculous. And I had to basically power through this. The thing with this is that this would be a show that I would watch. I could sit through watching this. Reading this is harder for me. Because reading involves my full attention, as opposed to watching it when I could have it on in the background. Also, it is very funny to watch this while listening to K-pop.
Yeah.
To read this while listening to K-pop, sorry. Because, like, I'll just be reading about the terribleness of the K-pop industry, and I'll just have, like, freaking the new, like, whatever's on my Q4 playlist, just like, oh yeah, no, these idols have shit lives, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
Yep.
Just jam to the new BTS album. But this was just, I don't know if I would read the sequel. I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Just because I kind of get the gist of where the
I
story...
would probably read, like, a
as
summary
it goes on,
of the sequel, but I would not waste time actually reading it.
No. I think that, like, the sequels, I can sort of see where this is going, and I feel like the sequels could get more outlandish. Because you've established a world, and now you just need to, like, up the ante every time. And if we're already at the point of, like, unrealistic as we are...
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Right.
But overall, I think that this wasn't the worst thing I've ever read. This wasn't terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It was just... A lot of it was honestly very boring. Because you're just seeing things happen, and I felt no stakes. Because the worst thing that's going to happen to the girl is that she doesn't debut as a K-pop idol.
Which is, like, the stakes are not... They're not high stakes here.
The stakes are low.
Yep.
And, like, also, I didn't really like Rachel as a character, so if Rachel doesn't get to
Rachel
debut
is,
as a
like,
K-pop idol, I'm not...
Rachel's not a character that you want to root for, really, at all. Like...
Not really. You kind of, like, you can root for her in the sense of, like, in general, you kind of want people to achieve their dreams because you're a good person, but she's not a good person, though.
She's, like, rich and gets special treatment for, like, doing half the work that all of these other kids are putting in for training, so, like, I don't really
like, they make
want
it
to
a point
invest
that she's
myself
very
in her.
upset by the fact that they all call her Princess Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
But they also make it a point that she does only do this on weekends.
Yeah.
Like, she's not doing this full time. And, like, she almost is like, she's like, oh, they hate me because I get special treatment. And she doesn't apologetic for it. She just is like, oh, that's how life is. And I'm like,
it's like, life's unfair.
Do you not see
like,
why
what?
They could hate you? Do you not have that kind of self-reflection?
She's got no self-awareness.
None whatsoever.
Because I know it, like, some idols do the thing where, because usually they're the Canadian or the American idols where they come to Korea to train in the summer and then we'll go back during the school year. But I feel like that's very different because they're not physically
train.
They're not physically living there most
of
the year.
And they're also not physically in someone's face saying, like,
yeah,
I'm only see them on weekends, and you're like, I'm busting my ass every day. And also, those Korean and American idols do have to continue to train at home with different studios and different everything else.
I know Johnny did that for a while, but Johnny had been training for, like, so long before he even debuted, so... When you do that, because you're not training as much, your training time is usually longer, which, like, makes sense, so...
Which means that you debut at a later age.
Yeah.
The other thing with that is that she makes it a very big point that she wants it, like, if I don't do it now, I'm already getting too old at the age of 17. That's not too old in K-pop now.
No.
Like, that's your average age of debut now. Like,
a
you
lot
get
of
the young...
idols, honestly, most groups debut somewhere between, like, 18 and, like, 22. So 17 is still on the young side.
That's a maknae
on the young
age.
side, yeah.
That's a maknae. Like, maknaes now are getting younger. Obviously, you have a 14-year-old maknae sometimes.
There's a lot of 15-year-old maknaes now, but...
Yeah.
Still, a lot of groups debut somewhere in, like, the 18 to 22 range, so that's not uncommon
like,
at
the
all.
only time you really need to start, like, worrying is when you're, like, 24.
Yeah, then I would be concerned.
Yeah.
And realistically, if she didn't debut in this group, like, if we're talking, like, actual K-pop, chances are she goes to another company, debuts somewhere else.
And debuts immediately, because she doesn't
immediately somewhere else, yeah.
Because, like, you see that all the time with former SM idols. Like, yeah, they don't debut in SM, but they... SM, YG, JYP idols debut very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
I want to put this behind me.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it again. I think this is it. We don't need to mention it ever again.
Nope. Because it was just a lot, and it was just... I mean, it's young adult fiction. You take which...
I mean, yeah, it is. It is indeed young adult fiction. So, like, you get what you... It is so much just trashy young adult fiction, but I mean, that's kind of what you expect.
I feel like our young adults deserve better. Our young adults deserve a lot better than what they get. But hopefully next week's episode will be a lot more fun.
Yes.
Will be a lot more positive.
We have a lot of fun episodes planned through the end of the year and like early January with a lot of year-end specials and everything. So those will be very exciting.
Our year-end special, one of which will be very positive, one of which will not be. One of which...
Yes.
Oh, to give us a fun spoiler, I am very clear. If anyone made it to the end of this, you deserve to know. There will be an episode that I fully intend that will get us canceled.
Oh, yes. This is how the podcast gets canceled.
We're gonna get canceled by the end of this year with something that we are actively planning.
Yep.
So if y'all can guess what that is, if anyone made it to this far into this video, which I doubt.
This one over an hour episode on Jessica's book.
Yep. You did good, kid. You did good. So shall we end this?
Yeah, this has been another episode of the Slappin Kpop podcast. If you're listening to us on YouTube, we are also on all of the major podcasting platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you're listening to us on one of those sites, we also have a YouTube channel where we post all of our episodes along with fun clip videos. And I guess I should mention, because it's about time for this, so we are going to be having a year-end award show, and our nominees for that will be posted on our channel very soon. So if you're interested in that, maybe subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not already. We also have a Twitter where we post a lot of random stuff and also just updates about our episodes, and also a K-pop collection Instagram, which is where I post the album collections of everyone on the podcast. So if you're into that, that's a fun thing to follow as well. Yay. And we will see you guys next week with more fun content than this, probably, and also more people on the podcast.
Yes, it's not just going to be me and Kayla. Yay.
Yes. Yay. We will see you next time. Bye.